secondary school and we went into careers advice mode, I was told that all I was going to be able to do was work in large supermarket. That was it. I wanted to be a teacher. It was like, no, that's not possible. You can go and do this. And that's how you were told. So it's almost like, okay, what should I do? It was almost left as, okay, that's what you think. That's what you think. To me, that also drove me because it's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to work in a supermarket anywhere. Moving on into my early roles and with my other organizations that I've worked with, the other thing that actually also come to play, reminding me, is around when my first bid management role, which is what I do now, where one of the managers and one of my fellow colleagues used to say, you can't be a bid manager because you're not a certified engineer. And it's mainly male environment then. There were very few of us around. And it was my managers who saw something in me who said, Dolores, you can do this. You can do this job. And I must admit, I have done the Cisco courses and all the technical courses because that's what we all had to do. So I've done those as well to get my head around being around the technical aspect of that role. But it was very much the commercial, the delivery side that actually I could bring our value to. And that was quite important for me to say because it was going forward on that and building on that career during that company. It was, okay, what's my next step? And so, I became quite ambitious. Okay, so I can do this job. So where do I go next? I'm going to get promotion. What do I need to get a promotion? And every time I had a one-to-one, I'd say, so how do I get to this next level? What do I need to do? And the way we would do it was I was given projects that would demonstrate my capability at that next level. I'm working as one of the senior bid commercial managers within Colt, and I actively work with the sales community on pre-tenders. So it's actually customer tender programs that they come to Colt for, and we have to pull the team together to commit and build the proposal. And a competitive proposal right through to contract close. And my role is around orchestrating, pulling the team together, making sure I've got the right people from all across the business that are actively engaged, that we respond in the best way we can from a business and a company perspective. So it's managing all of that, making sure we do everything on time. So project management as well, making sure everyone delivers their commitments and meet their deadlines, and that we actually get the proposal and then close the contract in the time that we've agreed with our customers. And it's a fabulous job. I would say it's one of the best jobs in the world because for me, it is about you touch base with all parts of the organization. You get to see what's going on. I get to hear about all the new things. I hear it anyway, but you see practically on the ground how it's going to work for the particular customer that you're working with. So I really think that works for me in terms of me being curious. One of the words I say, I'm quite curious. I like to know what's going on, and this satisfies that need of it. For me, also, it's about really getting engaged. I love my company. I think it's the best company in the world. I've got great leaders, and I love being a part of the company, and that includes being engaged in the work groups, and as a UK manager, supporting that. So as a Colt ambassador, as working with becoming a representative and actually going out to campaign. And I say I won't be a politician because having to campaign to get votes to be voted to be the UK representative on the Works Council was not in my comfort zone, but I managed. And I got through and I was selected. So that was really good. But it's also about getting involved in some of the other initiatives. And my view is if you don't put your hands up, and to make a difference, how can you make the change? How can you influence the way things are going if you're not in it? You can't do it from the outside, and I can't complain if I don't get involved. That comes from home. That comes from my family, my parents, from my mother. My mother was one of my best role models. I saw how she had to struggle sometimes. She had some health concerns, but she never let it become a problem. For her, it was something she just dealt with. The fact that I'd come home sometimes, and we all did it. We'd come home and Mum wasn't there. She ended up going in hospital in the middle of the day and an emergency. So you'd come home and it's okay. you have to make the dinner, because I was the eldest of the younger ones left in the home. So, you know, my family's part was a few burnt meals, but my mum was always about, that's part of who she was, but it wasn't all she was. And it was really that love that she gave to us and the resilience that she had in overcoming what she had to deal with that I think has helped me where I am now. I'm one of those people, unfortunately, I didn't go straight to uni from school. You know, you can imagine basically told you can't do anything. I did that part-time, worked full-time and did my degree part-time, like a lot of people I know do that. So that's always sort of, in me, studying was also part of what I did. It was where I went, it was the books, it was finding time. And even now it's finding that time, especially in this time of lockdown, etc., or where we're in sort of restricted movements, it's finding that time out to go and read that article, you know, 20 minutes, 40 minutes in the day. And I do that in the morning for some reason. First thing in the morning, I'll read an HRB sort of document or article on something that I'm interested in. The other thing I think was also, to me, is about, it is about putting yourself forward. So even with any learning in any organization, I developed the confidence, and I have to say that you got the confidence as you've been supported and the allies you have in an organization to say, I can put myself forward and it's not going to be laughed at. It's not going to be that, oh, you're not good enough. Why are you even putting your hat in the ring type thing? So I think that's really important to me, that I've learned that I should put myself forward and I shouldn't deselect myself and things, because that's what you do also. You know, there's other roles you're thinking, I'm not going to apply for that because they say this, this, and this, and I don't have that. And I have done it. I've not applied, you know, and on a recent one, I was got told, well, Dolores, why didn't you? Why didn't you put yourself forward? Even if you weren't going to get it, you should have put your hat in the ring. Can I say two? Yes. I'm going to talk to two things. One I think was around, and they're both quite similar, but one was around the UK country manager role. And because that's not a sort of, I was nominated for that. And I think that really gave me a sense of, wow, you know, people think I can become the UK country manager. And secondly, because most of the country managers around the rest of our business tend to be at senior levels. So they tend to be the VPs, etc., or whatever. And so it was very few people outside, and there's a few of us that are non-sales and non-sort of VP level people that got the role. So I think that was really made me believe that people have noticed me, they saw what I can do, they saw my capability, and the fact that the nomination was accepted unilaterally by the ELT, the executive leadership team, without any issues. It was yes, of course, you know. And I actually was asked the question, which is an interesting point, was, can you become a UK manager? Would you do it? Why would you do it? And my manager at the time said to me, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you take this on? And it was interesting. I got two different versions from different people about should I, shouldn't I? And it wasn't because of the role. It was probably more because of the workload potentially that involves in that. But it did get me thinking, because it got me second guessing a little bit about should I, shouldn't I? But no, I think that was fabulous. And the other one was around my being nominated and put forward and proposed to be the chair of my charity. My mentor, she's fabulous, Caroline Giffin-Payne, and I'm going to name her. She's a really great person. I respect her a lot. She's a great role model as well, but also she's very clear in a mentor relationship holding you to account. So effectively, she holds me to account to what I say I want to do. So if I say we agree at the beginning, what are the key things we're going to do this year, how we're going to achieve it, she'll keep me on board. And you know, you're almost thinking, I've got another mentor meeting, I better check, have I done this? Because I know I'm going to be asked. And it's not in a funny way, in a horrible way, but you're thinking, myself, I'm thinking, okay, I need to do this. I haven't done this, and I'm working towards. And I think that's really great. And she also facilitates where if I need to speak to everybody else in my organization or outside, what can they give me? Or just to have a sort of a different conversation, she'll make that happen or facilitate or open the door for me, should I say. So I do think that having a mentor like her, and I've had mentors all my career. Actually, there's always been a mentor, an ally, or a sponsor as long as I can go back to now. And I think it's fundamental. I would say to anyone, if you don't have a mentor, get one, find one. And it doesn't have to be necessarily a senior person. You can find somebody in your next grade or somebody in your own team that can help you mentor, because it's almost about helping you hold yourself to account on what you want to do. I would say my biggest challenge is about me, actually. It's about myself. In my earlier careers, it's about bringing to the table my whole self to work, to what I do. And I recognized for quite a long time I was two different people. I'd be in the office and I'd be Dolores, the corporate person who bit her tongue on some things, didn't say other things because it felt that won't go down well, it wouldn't be heard in the way I would like it to say. And sometimes you don't say things in the way, and I wasn't there to upset people, but it was very much I couldn't do that. I felt like I couldn't do that. And I can't say why, because there was nothing to, there was no rules to say you couldn't do it, but it felt like you weren't allowed. And I had a different persona. I was the Dolores at home, and my friends, my family, my community stuff was a total different person. And I realized I couldn't sustain having two different types Dolores out there. I had to be one person at work and the same person at home and bring my whole self, an authentic self, to each of those roles and what I do, because that's the only way we get the best out of each other. So for me, that I would say was one of my biggest challenges, not relevant in my current company. I am who I am. And I've got to the point where people accept me as who I am. And that's it. Is the young ones, is the interns, is the apprentices, is the grads that come in, and actually those first jobbers, people coming from all walks of life that come into the organisation. It's also about the people already in the organisation, because because you didn't come through the grad route or the apprentice route or any route doesn't mean you're not potentially a rising star. So there's also the point of recognising, and we all do it under appraisals, you'll have your high potentials, high performers that will form part of your rising stars. But I think it's about recognising that there are other people in the organisation that are rising stars that are probably a bit more invisible to you. Identify them. So do they know who they are in their organisation? Have a look at what is the succession list that they have in each of their departments and functions, and also challenge them, because is it only a successor because they've got a high performance? And as we know, it doesn't mean because you're the best person doing the job that you're the best person to be the next manager. It doesn't always equate that way. So have they looked at, is there a breadth? Are there other people that are rising stars that we should be recognising? And how are they being identified and picked up in the organisation? And then taking the time out to sit down with them, listen to what they're doing, listen to their stories, and get them involved in projects, in other activities that the organisations are involved in, so that their voices come through and they're getting listened to and heard as well. That's not easy, and I know it's not easy, but it really is taking that time out to hear their stories, to see them, and to recognise that they are there and that they can bring tremendous value to the organisations they're in.